Alright, welcome back. Let's resume. This is video part 6. We just covered critical features of goals, variable features of goals, and behaviorally stated objectives that students should complete, which would correspond to behavior change necessary to meet their goals. Here's a non-academic goal example. By the next annual ARD, Shelley will consume a complete lunch packed by her parents during lunchtime, consisting of at least one fruit and one vegetable, leaving no remaining food larger than a grape for 5 consecutive school days. That's a non-academic goal example. Now, here are some examples of behaviorally stated objectives that would hypothetically enable Shelley to meet that goal. And so these are written in a way that like behaviorally stated objective 1 is more advanced than behaviorally stated objective 2. So we'll start with the second one first. So the first thing Shelley would have to do is to sit at the lunch table and eat her lunch without leaving the table for 5 consecutive school days. And for this particular behaviorally stated objective, the amount that she eats doesn't matter. Okay, so once she meets that, we would introduce the next behaviorally stated objective, which is that Shelley will sit at the lunch table and eat her lunch without leaving the table for 5 consecutive school days, during which she eats all of the fruit or all of the vegetables for at least 5 bites of either food group provided by her parents. Okay. So if Shelley meets both of those behaviorally stated objectives, then she's either going to be able to meet this goal, or maybe she'll need one or more behaviorally stated objectives. I've only provided 2 here just to keep this example simple. So let's do some ASRs. Which of the following is a long-term goal? A. Marcos will earn a yellow belt in karate. And apparently a yellow belt represents 50 to 75 hours of classwork and 3 to 5 months of training. Okay, now B, Marcos will attend 5 consecutive karate classes with no challenging behavior. C, Marcos will follow nearly all basic instructions to kick and punch in simulated karate classes. D, Marcos will comply with all basic instructions to kick and punch in simulated karate classes for at least 95% of instructions, including 2-step directions or 2-step instructions for 3 consecutive simulated classes. A couple more seconds. Alright, I'll close the poll, and the answer here is A, Marcos will earn a yellow belt in karate. Next ASR, which of the following is a behaviorally stated objective? Marcos will earn the yellow belt in karate. B, Marcos will attend 5 consecutive karate classes with no challenging behavior. C, Marcos will follow nearly all basic instructions to kick and punch in simulated karate classes. Or D, Marcos will comply with all basic instructions to kick and punch in simulated karate classes for at least 95% of instructions, including 2-step directions for 3 consecutive simulated classes. Couple more seconds. Okay, I'll close the poll, and the answer here this time is D. That's the behaviorally stated objective. ASR 35, which of the following is a short-term goal? These are the same 4 answers, so I'll just let you read through them. Give you a few more seconds. Okay, I'll go ahead and close the poll, and the answer here is C. Marcos will follow nearly all basic instructions to kick and punch in simulated karate classes. Next ASR, Marcos will attend 5 consecutive karate classes with no challenging behavior. In the context of the prior slide, is an intermediate goal. Is that A true or B false? Couple more seconds. Alright, I'll go ahead and close the poll. And the answer here is A, true. Alright, now let's talk about developing the IEP. Now, IDEA 2004 requires special education students to receive FAPE, free and appropriate public education driven by an IEP. The IEP must address the student's current level of academic and social functioning, needs, assessment issues, and prescribed educational and related services. Although it is represented physically as a paper or electronic document, the IEP is a process that involves collaboration across multiple stakeholders. A broad, comprehensive education plan, and which facilitates integrated placement. So beware of pre-written goals and objectives in electronic IEP generating software, which has become a problem because it interferes with individualization required by law. In other words, if you're just selecting from pre-written goals and objectives in a database for your student, that's counter to a process of individualized, comprehensive assessment and curriculum development for individual students. Now, you must include an individual transition plan at age 16, that's the ITP. And the ITP must include appropriate, measurable post-secondary goals based on age-appropriate transition assessments related to training, education, employment, and where appropriate, independent living skills. In addition, the transition services, including courses of study, needed to assist the student with a disability in reaching those goals. Okay, so the ITP has to include both those measurable post-secondary goals related to training, education, employment, and independent living, as well as the services they'll need to reach those goals. An IEP and the ITP should also include a behavior intervention plan, or BIP, based on a functional behavior assessment to address challenging behavior. Now, next is to decide how to teach target skills, intervene and monitor, and review, revise, or maintain behavioral interventions. So the way to do this, and we're just touching on this a little bit because we went into depth in evidence-based practice already, is to use evidence-based practice in ABA to identify behavioral interventions based on the best available evidence, client values and context, clinical expertise. Unless the goal is to teach a functional life skill to be used in a particular setting, always program for generalization from the outset of instruction. Never assume that a student is going to generalize a skill that you teach them. You gotta program for it. Mastery and fluency are not goals of education. The true goals of education are generalization and maintenance. You want students to maintain their skills over time without additional instruction. That's maintenance. And you want them to be able to apply their skills in useful ways in a wide variety of novel, real-life, meaningful situations. Right? Okay. Next, ASR. When should a teacher begin working on the next goal? When one goal is mastered. Is it A, at least 1 month later, B, after the next annual IEP meeting, or C, immediately? A couple more seconds. Okay, I'll close the poll, and the answer is C, immediately. Next, ASR, the ITP must include goals related to A, training, B, education, C, employment and independent living skills when appropriate, or D, all of the above. Couple more seconds. Alright, I'll close the poll, and the answer is D, all of the above. Alright, that wraps up this video part. I'll see you in the next video part when we focus on curricular refinement.